Stephen Cram, born the 14th of October 1960, is a British retired track and field athlete. Along with fellow Britons Sebastian Coe and Steve Ovett, he was one of the world's dominant middle-distance runners during the 1980s. Nicknamed the Jarrow Arrow, after his hometown, Cram set world records in the 1,500 meters, 2,000 meters, and the mile during a 19-day period in the summer of 1985. He was the first man to run 1,500 meters under 3 minutes and 30 seconds. He won the 1,500 meters gold medal at the 1983 World Championships and the 1,500 meters silver medal at the 1984 Olympic Games. In 2000, Cram co-founded international children's charity COCO, Comrades of Children Overseas, with British Army Major Jim Panton after running the Bosnia Comrades Ultramarathon in 1998. Cram remains chairman of COCO, an organization which currently provides education to children living in poor, remote parts of East Africa. In 2008, Cram was appointed Chancellor of the University of Sunderland, replacing Lord Putnam, and in 2009 was elected as President of Jarrow and Hebburn Athletics Club. Cram now works as a television presenter and athletics commentator, motivational speaker and athletics coach. In 2021, he was elected as the new president of the British Orienteering Federation. Athletics career. In 1980, Cram won his place in the British Olympic team after finishing in second place to Steve Ovett in the mile at Crystal Palace. The race had been marked as a runoff between Cram and Scottish miler Graham Williamson for the final place, a selection decision which was severely criticized by Ovett in his 1984 autobiography. Cram, aged 19, reached the final of the 1,500 meters at the 1980 Moscow Olympic Games, in which Ovett and Sebastian Coe famously vied for the gold medal. Cram finished in 8th place. Capitalizing on his Olympic experience, Cram made his major breakthrough in 1982, a year in which Coe and Ovett were largely absent with injuries. Cram took 1,500 meters gold at the Commonwealth Games and also the 1982 European Championships in Athens, where he raced to gold after breaking from the field with 600 meters to go following Williamson's fall. Injury had disrupted Cram in the early part of the 1983 season, but he recovered in time for the 1983 World Championships in Helsinki and just prior to the Games beat Coe, who was suffering from an undiagnosed virus at the time, in an 800 meters at Gateshead. In a slow final, he strategically beat a large field following Said Aouida's break with 500 meters to go. Ovett became trapped in the pack, ultimately finishing 4th, while Cram outkicked Steve Scott and Aouida in the last 200 meters. In a remark made in Cram's presence shortly afterwards which spoke to the depth of British milers, Ovett noted that Britain was the home of the Olympic champion, world champion and world record holder in the 1,500 meters, titles held by Coe, Cram and Ovett respectively. At Crystal Palace later that summer, Cram won an epic mile race, in which he led Ovett by little more than a meter with 300 meters to go and maintained that lead right to the finishing line. In a 2006 interview, Cram described the race: "It was a cat-and-mouse affair. We both started off running at the back of the field. I beat him by little more than the thickness of a vest." In 1984, Cram's season was severely hampered by injury, although he recovered sufficiently to win silver in the 1,500 meters at the 1984 Olympic Games in Los Angeles, behind defending champion Coe. He came back stronger in 1985, a year in which he was only beaten 3 times, by Coe at 800 meters, McKean at 800 meters and Ovett in a road mile. In the 800 meters, not his best event, he beat the reigning 800 meters Olympic champion, Joaquim Cruz, in 1 minute 42 seconds and 88 milliseconds, the fastest time he was ever to run, off even splits of 51.2 and 51.7. He broke 3 world records, 1,500 meters, mile, 2,000 meters, within a 19-day span, and recorded a British all-comers record over the 1,000 meters, running 2 minutes 12 seconds and 88 milliseconds in windy conditions at Gateshead, the second fastest 1,000 meters in history at the time behind Coe's 2 minutes 12 seconds and 18 milliseconds. He was the first man to run under 3 minutes 30 seconds and 0 milliseconds for the 1,500 meters, just beating Said Aouida in Nice, running 3 minutes 29 seconds and 67 milliseconds to Aouida's 3 minutes 29 seconds and 71 milliseconds. His mile time of 3 minutes 46 seconds and 32 milliseconds, recorded at the Bislett Stadium in Oslo, stood for 8 years and, as of 2021, is still the European record. This run was notable for the fact that this was an actual competitive race against Sebastian Coe, with the first 3 laps being below schedule, although pretty even in pace distribution, 57.2, 57.3, 58.7, followed by an exceptional last lap, 440 yards, of 53.2. While the likes of Coe and Yvette had a devastating sprint finish over the last 100 meters, Cram tended to wind up the speed gradually over the last 300 meters of races, making him very difficult to catch. However, during the 1985 season he said, and indeed demonstrated, that he could win from any position and happily ran near the back of world-class fields before unleashing his kick, often with a lap or so to go. This tactic, his elegant, high-stepping action and his effortless acceleration made him one of the most exciting middle-distance runners to watch. Cram's good form continued into the 1986 season. At the 1986 Commonwealth Games in Edinburgh, he won the 800 meters, finishing 15 meters clear of Tom McKean and Peter Elliott in 1 hour 43 minutes and 22 seconds, still the Commonwealth Games record. He followed this up with gold in the 1,500 meters and was persuaded to run both events at the 1986 European Championships in Stuttgart. He arrived at the European Championships, just over the edge, as he suggested in David Miller's biography of Coe, Born to Run. Nevertheless, he won the bronze in the 800 meters, having been blocked down the back straight by Tom McKean, who made his run at the same time as Cram and, though leading into the straight, lacked the zest he showed in the Commonwealth Games and was unable to hold off the challenges of McKean and a superlative Coe. Although disappointed by his 800 meters defeat, Cram bounced back to beat Coe to the gold medal in the 1,500 meters. It turned out to be not only Cram's last major medal, but the end of the golden era for British middle distance running. In 1987, he was no longer the outstanding 1,500 meters athlete that he had been in previous years. Having previously been able to win races from any position and at any pace, he was now lacking confidence in his finishing speed, an area in which he had fallen behind some of his main rivals. He was beaten by José Luis González in the European Cup, and although he followed that with an impressive win in the 1,000 meters in Stockholm, and won the Dream Mile for the third year running, he finished 8th after leading into the final bend of the 1987 World Championships final in Rome. He had said before the race that his only hope of victory was a fast race, in which he could run the finish out of his opponents, in particular Abdi Bile, the eventual winner. Unhappily for Cram, the pace was slow, and he faded badly in the last 100 meters. His 1988 season saw him return to better form, and he beat Bile in the Oslo Dream Mile in 1988, his fourth consecutive victory in that race. Having run impressively in the Olympic trials over 800 meters and winning in 1 minute 44 seconds and 16 milliseconds, opening up an 8-meter gap over Tom McKean in a sprint down the home straight, he was touted as one of the favorites to win the gold medal over 1,500 meters at the Seoul Olympics in 1988 until a calf injury just before the Games in a 1,000 meters race hampered his progress. The injury affected his performance at the Games and he was eliminated in the heats of the 800 meters. He recovered sufficiently to reach the final of the 1,500 meters, but could finish only 4th in a close race surprisingly won by Peter Rono. Injury dogged him throughout his remaining years, and although he continued to compete for some time, he never again looked likely to win a major championship. In the 1990 European Athletics Championships, he still finished 5th in the 1,500 meters, but in the 1991 World Athletics Championships, he was eliminated in the 1,500 meters semi-finals. He retired from athletics in 1994 and remains the UK record holder over the mile and 2,000 meters. Cram is the coach of middle-distance runners Laura Whiteman, Thomas Lancashire and Ross Murray. In April 2014, Cram joined British Athletics as an advisor and mentor in the run-up to the 2016 Summer Olympics. Television career: Cram now works as a television presenter and athletics commentator predominantly for BBC Sport and as a motivational speaker. He participated in Prince Edward's 1987 charity television special The Grand Knockout Tournament. Cram starred alongside UK Olympic gold medalists Sally Gunnell and Adam Eason in BBC's 2006 primetime TV series Run for Glory, helping the runners and participants overcome psychological barriers to running the London Marathon. He was the BBC's lead commentator for the athletic events at the 2012 Summer Olympics in London. Cram has also presented as part of 4 Winter Olympics: Vancouver 2010, Sochi 2014, Pyeongchang 2018 and Beijing 2022, having replaced Dougie Donnelly as the main curling commentator in 2010. Personal life: Cram's mother Marie was born in Germany and he considered representing Germany because of the dominance of Coe and Yvette. Cram was married to Karen for many years, but they divorced in 2006, and since then he has lived with former athlete Allison Curbishley in Northumberland. He has 2 children, Josie and Marcus, who have had some success in underage races. Cram had 1 sibling, a younger brother Kevin, who died in a fall aged 39 while out for a run in Cardiff in 2001. In August 2014, Cram was one of 200 public figures who were signatories to a letter to The Guardian opposing Scottish independence in the run-up to September's referendum on that issue. He is a supporter of Sunderland AFC Awards. Cram was voted BBC Sports Personality of the Year in 1983. He was appointed member of the Order of the British Empire, MBE, in 1986 in command. Of the Order of the British Empire, CBE, in the 2015 New Year Honours for services to sport. Personal Best References. External links. Profile: Steve Cram, Professional Sports Group. Our Chancellor, Steve Cram, MBE, University of Sunderland. Steve Cram at World Athletics.